My brother moved in next door after his divorce. I was happy to have family close. Then my wife started getting anonymous notes. You deserve better. He'll never change. I brushed it off as spam. Until I found my brother sitting in our kitchen at 2 a.m. Drinking from my mug. Wearing my hoodie. She always loved me first, he said. Then he pulled out a photo, an old one from high school. Of him and my wife. I guess you never really think people closest to you could be the ones digging the knife into your back. But that's what happened. And it all started the day I helped Caleb move into the house next door. I'm 39. Been married to Sarah for 11 years. We live in a quiet neighborhood just outside Dayton, Ohio. Big yards. People still wave when they drive past. When Caleb's marriage crashed and burned, he was a mess. Lost half his stuff. Lost custody of his kids. He needed a fresh start, and when the old Johnson place next door went on the market, it felt like a sign. I told him to jump on it. I even loaned him money for the down payment. The first few weeks were great. It felt like old times. We'd grill out on Saturdays, watch the Bengals or the Buckeyes on Sundays. He'd come over for dinner sometimes. Sarah always made enough for him. He was family. I was glad he was close. Then the notes started showing up. It was small at first. Harmless, almost. Sarah found one stuck under her windshield wiper after work. It said, "You deserve better." Just those 3 words, typed out on plain white paper. No envelope. No signature. We joked about it. Figured it was some idiot from the parking garage downtown where she worked. Then another one came. This time in our mailbox. No stamp. Just folded up and slipped in there. He'll never change. I brushed it off again. Told Sarah it was probably nothing. Spam. Maybe some old flame from her work trying to stir up trouble. But they kept coming. Always about me. Always about how Sarah could do better. How she was wasting her life. I started noticing Sarah was different too. She got quieter. Jumpy. She checked the locks twice before bed. She stopped laughing at the dumb shows we used to watch. I thought it was the stress from work. Maybe she was just tired. But deep down, something started to feel off. You know that feeling you get when the house is too quiet? Like you're not alone even when you are? That kind of wrong. Then came the night I'll never forget. I woke up around 2 a.m. Thirsty. I figured I'd sneak down and grab a drink without waking Sarah. The hall was dark. I noticed the kitchen light was on. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe Sarah was having trouble sleeping. I walked into the kitchen. And there he was. Caleb. Sitting at our table. Like he owned the place. He had my coffee mug in his hand, the one Sarah gave me on our 5th anniversary. The one that said World's Best Husband on it. He was wearing my gray Ohio State hoodie. The one Sarah liked to steal when she was cold. I just stood there for a second. My brain couldn't catch up to what my eyes were seeing. "What the hell are you doing?" I finally said. He looked up at me. Smiled. Not a normal smile. It was too calm. Too sure of itself. "She always loved me first," he said. It hit me like a punch. He pulled something out of his hoodie pocket. An old photograph. Faded around the edges. He slid it across the table toward me. It was a picture of him and Sarah. High school aged. He was in his football jacket. She was in her cheerleader uniform. They were standing too close. His hand was low on her waist. She was looking up at him like he hung the damn moon. I didn't even know they knew each other back then. Sarah had never mentioned Caleb when she talked about high school. Not once. "You didn't even know," he said, voice low. "You were always the safe one. The second choice." I told him to get out of my house. Shouted it. Loud enough that Sarah came running down the hall, eyes wide, wearing one of my old college t-shirts. She stopped dead when she saw him. And the photo. I looked at her. Looked for a lie, an explanation, anything. But her face said it all. She broke down crying. Loud, ugly sobs. The kind you can't fake. Caleb just stood there, sipping from my mug, like he was proud of himself. Sarah dropped to the floor, hands covering her face, shaking. I tried to reach for her, but she flinched away from me. Tell him, Caleb said, his voice sharp now. Tell him the truth. I didn't know what he meant. My heart was pounding so loud it drowned out my thoughts. Tell me what? I asked, looking at Sarah. She just kept crying, rocking back and forth like a kid. Caleb stepped closer to her. Too close. I moved between them without thinking, shoving him back a step. Don't touch her, I said. He just laughed. A short, mean laugh. She was supposed to be mine, he said. Back in high school. We were together. Ask her. I looked at Sarah again. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. It was a long time ago, she choked out. Before you and I started dating. I didn't even know you then. That wasn't what hurt the most. It wasn't that she had dated Caleb years ago. It was the way she said it. Like she was scared of him. Like some part of her still felt connected to him. Tell him the rest, Caleb said, stepping forward again. Sarah squeezed her eyes shut. I was pregnant, she whispered. The room spun around me. Pregnant. With his kid? I asked, voice cracking. She nodded. Couldn't even look at me. I lost it. A few weeks later, she said. I never told anyone. I staggered back like she had hit me. All these years. All the times we talked about having kids. All the times she cried after the miscarriages, telling me she felt like she failed me. I never knew she carried a different kind of pain. A secret tied to my own damn brother. Caleb smiled, like he had finally won something. She picked you because you were safe, he said. Boring. Easy. I snapped. I lunged at him, slamming him against the fridge so hard the magnets fell off. The mug shattered on the floor. Sarah screamed. You think you're better than me? I shouted. You're a drunk. A cheater. You blew up your own family. Caleb shoved me off. We stood there, breathing hard, like two bulls ready to tear each other apart. You took everything from me, he growled. And now I'm taking it back. You're sick, I said. Stay away from us. He looked at Sarah, then back at me, grinning. We'll see about that. Then he walked out the front door, slamming it so hard the frame shook. Sarah and I sat there in silence. The photo lay on the floor between us, mocking me. For the next few days, it was like living in a minefield. Sarah barely spoke. I barely slept. Every time I looked out the window, I could feel Caleb watching. Sometimes I'd catch him sitting on his porch, just staring at our house. Like he was waiting. I thought about calling the cops. But what would I even say? My brother is creeping me out. It sounded pathetic. Weak. One night, a rock smashed through our front window. No note, no signature. Just a rock. I knew it was him. But when the police came, Caleb stood on his lawn, smiling, drink in hand, waving at them like an old friend. No proof. No arrest. 2 days later, Sarah's car tires got slashed. 4 clean cuts. Again, no evidence. No cameras. I felt helpless. And it was eating me alive. That's when Sarah dropped the real bomb. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the window still boarded up with a piece of plywood. She looked smaller somehow. Worn down. There's something else, she said quietly. I just stared at her. I didn't think I could take any more secrets. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a DNA test. At first, I didn't get it. Then I saw the names. Caleb's name. Sarah's name. And a child's name. A little boy. 6 years old. My hands started shaking. I thought the baby was gone, she whispered. I didn't know until after we were married. I thought it didn't matter, but Caleb knew. He found out after his divorce. He took the test. It's his kid. My head dropped into my hands. My brother had a son he didn't raise. A son he didn't even want. And now, because of this twisted mess, he thought Sarah and him had some unfinished business. It wasn't just obsession anymore. It was family. Blood. I felt sick. You lied to me for our whole marriage, I said. It didn't even come out angry. Just hollow. Sarah was crying again, but I didn't reach for her this time. I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. And then, 2 nights later, it escalated even worse. I woke up to the sound of the back door creaking open. Not just open, breaking. I grabbed the bat from under the bed and rushed down the stairs. There he was. Caleb. Standing in my kitchen again, same as before. But this time, he wasn't just drinking coffee. This time, he had a knife in his hand. I froze at the bottom of the stairs, bat in my hands, heart hammering against my ribs. Caleb stood there under the kitchen light, barefoot, hair wild, wearing that same old hoodie of mine. The knife he held wasn't some big hunting thing. It was a regular kitchen knife. Somehow, that made it worse. Like he didn't even plan this. Like he thought he could just walk in and take whatever he wanted. Including her. You were never supposed to have her, he said, voice thick, almost drunk sounding. You were never supposed to have anything. I raised the bat. My arms were shaking so bad I could hardly keep it steady. Put the knife down, Caleb, I said. You don't want to do this. He laughed. It was a broken, ugly sound. She wants me. She always did, he said, stepping closer. Upstairs, I heard Sarah moving. I prayed she was calling the cops. I prayed this could end without blood. But then Caleb lunged. It wasn't a smart move. It was sloppy, desperate. I swung the bat with everything I had. It cracked against his shoulder. He howled and dropped the knife, stumbling back against the fridge. But he wasn't done. He came at me again, wild now, fists swinging. We crashed into the table, knocking chairs over, plates shattering on the floor. I barely got my hands up in time. He punched me in the side of the head, and everything went white for a second. I swung the bat again, lower this time. It connected with his knee. He screamed and went down hard. I stood over him, breathing like a freight train, the bat raised over my head. I could have ended it right there. Maybe I should have. But I didn't. Instead, I grabbed the knife off the floor and backed away, keeping my eyes on him. Get out, I said. If I see you near this house again, I swear to God I'll kill you. He tried to get up, but his leg wouldn't hold. He crawled toward the door like some wounded animal, cursing the whole way. The cops showed up 5 minutes later. Sarah had called 911 the moment she heard the door break. They arrested him on the spot. Breaking and entering. Assault. It wasn't much, but it was enough to get him locked up for a while. As they dragged him out in cuffs, he locked eyes with me and said, "This isn't over." The house was quiet after that. Too quiet. Sarah and I tried to move on, but something between us had cracked that night. The lies. The old memories. The fact that it had taken all of this for the truth to come out. We went to counseling. We tried. But some things don't heal. 6 months later, I filed for divorce. I didn't do it to punish her. I just couldn't live in a house built on half-truths anymore. Last I heard, Caleb took a plea deal. He's doing time at a state prison in Chillicothe. Sarah moved back closer to her parents. I stayed in the house. Alone. Sometimes I sit on the porch at night, staring at the empty house next door. I think about all the ways it could have gone different. I think about the people you trust most. And how easy it is for them to destroy you. All it takes is one night. One secret. One brother.